All right, thanks again. It's Pop Culture Cosmos. How are you? It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you, along with my good friend, the author of Vendetta Dark and the upcoming book. Congratulations, you suck. It's Josh Peterson again. How are you again, my friend?
Good to be back.
Yeah, we are back again right after a lot of news came up. We came on earlier and talked about a lot about what was going on with Fantastic Beasts and all that good stuff. And now this week has gotten even better because the Nintendo Switch got debuted with a trailer. Nintendo decided to debut it was codename NX for quite a while, but it is now officially called the Nintendo Switch. It's coming out sometime in March 2017. It is, as what many had reported and what was heavily rumored, it is a hybrid unit. It is something that is, you can actually, as if you've not seen the trailer yet, and shame on you if you haven't, because it is really, really something that a lot of people were impressed with. Being able to, from a home docking station, the controllers themselves from the left and the right attach to either to make a controller based system, or you can actually take the actual base unit. There's actually a tablet right on it that you connect the controllers to, and you can take it with you on the go. And they were demonstrating it, on a plane, out at a park area, and also with a home-based console environment. So I ask you, Josh, you've taken a look at the footage. What are your first impressions of the Nintendo Switch?
I think it looks really cool. I like the way the graphics look on, with Zelda, especially. Zelda looks great, but to me, I'm always weary about Nintendo because I thought that the Wii looked really cool at first too, but they just eventually that wasn't what it was cracked up to be, and I ended up going back to the Xbox. But I'm excited to see what Nintendo has to offer with this new console. The controllers are impressive. They're big when they're put together, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm hoping this will turn things around for Nintendo. They obviously have put a lot of thought into it.
Well, there's a great deal of interest right now because of it. A lot of fans are enamored with it. I'm not going to shy away from it. I have been known to be harsh on the company because of their decision making in the past. But in this occasion, I actually kind of like what they have to offer with this. They offered some third party offerings that they showed with it, like Skyrim and NBA 2K17, which was promising. I like the fact that it's going to be something that's different, something that the Vita could have really, and in essence, kind of is, and it kind of isn't because it doesn't do HDMI, and you just see where Vita could have gone right with the PS4 when you see the actual Switch commercial. That's what you think. At least that's what I thought at first. Is man, the Vita could have had this done down pat years ago, and nobody would have cared about the Switch. But the Switch actually looks like it's something that's very cool. Don't know if it's touch based. Hopefully, it will be because of the tablet nature. Highly recommend that it should be, but then again, that's up to Nintendo. It runs on NVIDIA Tigre, I think, chip, which is not going to emit the same kind of power, most likely, as a PS4 or an Xbox One, which I know concerns some people because, as you and I both know, first thing we gravitate as well towards is graphics, how well it looks and whatnot. But Zelda did look good. The new Super Mario World that was shown, which is an unannounced game, but there was some Super Mario World type game footage that was there that looked really cool as well. A Super Mario Kart type game was shown as well. That looked really good as well, and it all looked really cool. All looked, as far as the Nintendo based environment, but there are some questions in regards to, like I said, as far as is it going to be a touch screen? I know battery life has been talked about by everybody. If that's going to, like drinking through soda through a straw or something, if it's going to go that fast. And then the power. because of the flexibility of the Switch and what it's going to offer as far as both connected home base, home base entertainment type format, and then also as well a portable unit that you can easily transfer it into. There's going to be some most likely some giveaway in as far as graphics, power, and whatnot, most likely. But how good will, let's say, the remastered Skyrim look, or how good will third party or even first party offerings look on it? Will people feel like they're shortchanged when they see it? But I think for overall, I think the unit, had an impressive start, impressive debut. It gets people talking, and that's the most important thing. We'll see. It looked like there's a lot of attachments that will be available for it. There definitely looks like there will be a lot available for it, but I'm also concerned as far as the actual base price. So, but if they keep it under 300, that at least will give them a head start. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Nintendo's always been the cheaper option of the consoles, and they were actually really smart. Like, I think, like, kind of taking a look at these next gen consoles and seeing like what fans want from them, and then at the same time being able to correct like their mistakes they made with the Wii U is a good idea. They were very strategic in what they were doing with this console. But like, as for I don't know, you mentioned the Elder Scrolls game. Like, that's really cool. Like, this is the first time we'll be seeing an Elder Scrolls on a Nintendo console, but at the same time, like, next week the remastered versions are coming out for Xbox and PlayStation. So it's kind of like, that's cool, but if you're already getting the remastered versions, I doubt it, because the game takes so long. I doubt very many people are going to want to play it 3 times. But as like Legend of Zelda, the new Mario, there's they got an unannounced Sonic game coming out, which I imagine will be pretty cool. But it's there's I can't imagine them selling it for more than $300, but it's but there's still so much that's very like vague about this console. So we'll have to see what they say about it in the future, but it looks cool.
Definitely, indeed. Like I said, I do have some concerns regarding the capabilities of the actual unit itself. Is it going to have something similar as far as to other home-based consoles? If it's going to have that type of performance, if it does have anything in the ballpark, then I think you're off and running with something that could be really special for Nintendo. If it's not, then people are going to nitpick at it and point out mistakes and flaws and point out comparisons all day long, because right now with this PS4 and the PS4 Pro and then the Scorpio that's going to come out next year, that's going to take home console gaming to a whole new level.
Right. So like I said, I'm curious to see what the future is going to be like, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. So it's hard to say like what's going to be better than how much it's going to cost, but it's definitely piqued my interest, and I'm sure it's piqued the interest of a lot of people who have been paying attention to it.
Indeed it did, and indeed it has. And I know a lot of people, especially Nintendo fans everywhere, are looking forward to it. And like I said, it has garnered my interest, and I'm hoping for even more information. And as that becomes available, check us out on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, and also our sister site, Game Source, on Facebook, where we will provide you news and information and updates as they become available on the Nintendo Switch. We are just, looking forward to it right now. It's a wait and see. It's coming out in March 2017. We're looking definitely forward to it as something that could shake up the home console market. Again, this is Pop Culture Cosmos. How are you doing out there? This is Gerald, along with my good friend Josh Peterson. I want to make sure everybody knows out there, we are on the Podcast Radio Network Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Want to thank the thousands of listeners who have listened to us already, and appreciate you coming back to listen to us. It's always good to know that you're welcomed with the fans and whatnot. It's just truly overwhelming when we first got the ratings and realized that we were in the top 15 of the Podcast Radio Network. we're truly humbled by that, and we hope to continue that type of format that you like to listen to. Indeed. Also want to thank the Tangent Bound Network for allowing us to be on their network. You can also catch us on Stitcher. You can also catch us on Google Play and podcast.com. You can check out our home site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, which has a whole bunch of articles that both Josh, Michelle Levas, our editor-in-chief, who also hosts the Wine, Women, and Words with Diana Tierney. They do a great job there. There's a ton of articles there. All of our feeds are there, so you get a chance to check that out if you can't find it anywhere else. But as I said, Stitcher, it's got our feed there too. Tangent Bound Network, Podcast Radio Network. There's also Google Play. We've got a channel there too, at Pop Culture Cosmos. Podcast.com, Pop Culture Cosmos. And if you like iTunes, subscribe to us there. You'll get the latest episodes brought right to you. So it was an interesting day that day at when the Switch got released as far as the trailer is concerned, because another big expected trailer came out not too long after it. Red Dead Redemption 2, which has had a lot of people talking as far as what could possibly be when it comes out it's supposed to be scheduled out next year, late fall 2017, as far as a big title for Rockstar. Now, Rockstar doesn't deal with 2 or 3 releases in a year, or even doing a release every year. I mean, this is it's been 4 or 5 years. It will be at least 5 years since GTA 5 came out, as far as 2012. Yeah, I think it will probably be closer to 5 years by the time it comes out. So what are your expectations for Red Dead Redemption 2? I know I played quite a bit of it when Red Dead Redemption came out. I found it a truly enjoyable experience. A lot of fetch quests, mind you, that extended the game. But then again, there's so many games that are at fault for doing that. But otherwise, the atmosphere, the look was just truly amazing. And the actual story was very compelling indeed. What are your thoughts about a sequel to it in Red Dead Redemption 2?
I just hope that it doesn't pick up exactly where the last expansion pack came up, with the main character turning into a zombie. I love the game, honestly. Like, people like open world games, and it's that Red Dead Redemption was truly like an open world game that we have never seen before. Because you have Grand Theft Auto, you got Crackdown, you can just run around these cities doing stuff, but like, it puts you out in the Wild West, and that was something that, like, Gun kind of did it on the original Xbox, but like, this was really something that people had not seen before. Like, it was, and the whole idea that you can run around and form a posse with your friends, like, that is fantastic. That is like I played that for hours and hours, and I loved it. I was excited, but it's funny how these companies try to put, like, Rockstar kept on saying, oh yeah, we're not working on another Red Dead game at the moment. But everyone kind of knew it was inevitable that it was going to happen because so many fans wanted it. The trailer didn't really give much away. Just from what I saw though, like the scenery all looks fantastic, and I hope that they show us more in the coming days.
Well, with Rockstar, they don't really have that many properties that can create that kind of build, that you can create that kind of universe, and most importantly, take that GTA model as far as a huge storyline, a huge open world, and then add on to it as far as their, because in recent years, especially with GTA 5, their online experience has become really a strong point for them, even more than a story standpoint. It's totally gone in reverse from what earlier editions are. I saw some signs at GTA 4 when I was playing as far as the online I thought was pretty good then, but GTA 5 has taken the online status to a whole new level. And Red Dead Redemption is probably the only other marquee franchise that they truly have that can garner, because Max Payne 3 didn't do it. Bully, there's obviously they're the ping pong and whatnot, Midnight Club. They just don't garner the same type of cachet that GTA does. Red Dead Redemption is that it's closest to it in fan interest, and I think we've seen that over the past week with the announcement and people getting excited over it. I'm hopeful that they will just go ahead and be able to create another universe similar to that. But I think they're going to take a lot of lessons that they took from GTA 5 Online to make it a truly expansive universe online. It's going to cost ultimately in our wallet, in our pocketbooks, but people have been playing GTA 5 Online now for years that have just expounded the virtues of it because there's just so much to do, and Rockstar makes just such a concerted effort to provide that universe with an even more outstanding base to work off of. Am I correct in that saying that? Because I think that it looks good for Red Dead Redemption 2 because they're going to take all that experience and apply it onto Red Dead Redemption 2.
Right, and it's that formula worked for them. That's what people liked, and they'd be stupid not to take that as like a foundation and build on it. People like it. I mean, for me, like everyone talks about Grand Theft Auto, people like it so much because you can, it's basically just like senseless violence. But to me, it's more the idea of being able to run around with your friends, being able to play things. Like people like that kind of game, and I think that's going to be the future for Rockstar because that's the kind of game they're really good at making. So with Red Dead Redemption, they're basically just taking. What I'm hoping is they're taking all those qualities from the Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto and making something that we have that's familiar to us, but also something that we haven't seen before.
I agree with you because they will take it to the next level. I'm pretty sure that they will because they have that track record with the Grand Theft Auto, and even though, like I said, Max Payne 3 didn't work out quite what they wanted to, with GTA, they model. You can see the similarities in the way they modeled the last Red Dead Redemption to the Grand Theft Auto series, and you can see the quality that was put into that particular title. So going forward, Red Dead Redemption 2 looks like it's something that's really going to be a strong outing for them because it's going to be a while and it's going to be ways off for GTA 6 to come along because people are still, loving the heck out of GTA 5. If I was Rockstar, I would not even come up close to releasing a GTA 6 anytime soon because GTA 5, several years later, is still in the top 10 in the NPD rankings as far as sales concerned to this day. And, that in and of itself is amazing. There's very few titles, Minecraft and maybe a couple others that can just say that they've got years worth of sales on the same game. And when you total 50 million sales for just one title, I don't see a GTA 6 coming anytime soon. So that being the case, Red Dead Redemption is going to, wet that whistle for people looking for something new even more. And that's going to be, by all intentions, with Rockstar, that's going to be their game that's going to take over for them for at least the next 2 to 3 years after that.
Yeah, exactly. And case in point with what you were mentioning is Call of Duty. Okay, so how many people? Call of Duty has a new entry each year, but there are still so many players playing Modern Warfare 2. So they pick up the new Call of Duty, but they start to play it and they're like, I like what's familiar to me. So why go out and make another Grand Theft Auto if the one that's out right now is already still has a whole bunch of players on it? And some of the mods are actually just because of its modability, that's why people love it. I don't know if you saw the new mods with the Samsung phones.
Yes, I shared an article on our Game Source Facebook page on that. That was once I got a chance to read that was quite amusing. Yeah,
just the freedom you have to create things. It's right now if it's not broke, don't fix it. So with Grand Theft Auto, I don't see any reason to create something new until people start asking for it.
Exactly, and they now have a 1-2 punch with 2 titles in Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto series that they can just roll, every 3 to 4 years continuously. It would be nice if they had a third that they could actually, consider a foundation, But even if they don't, really, they still have two titles now that garner a lot of interest and should be, when it comes out, Red Dead Redemption 2, I think will be just another outstanding game in that series for Rockstar. And I'm just ready. I'm just ready to get involved in that world, ready to get back into it, even if it's just watching cattle overnight, like I did on the previous iteration. Doesn't matter. It was still a lot of fun to play. And I'm looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2. Your thoughts on the possibility that it might be delayed, because they've been known to make sure they take their time, obviously with a quality product. Who knows how that long they've been working on this product, but I don't foresee any problems with it, but there's always that bet that the game might be delayed. Your thoughts on a possible delay for that game? Should they have maybe waited until they were closer to a for sure release date?
Well, with any good game, there's always going to be delays. I mean, gamers have just gotten used to gamers are unique in the fact that they are used to disappointment. So it's really just it. Yeah, if they need to delay the game to make it better, then by all means delay the game. But I mean, still, like, give us like glimpses of it. Still, let us know that it's still happening. Don't like pull a Last Guardian on us and keep us like wondering like what's going on with this. The delays are fine as long as for like in the best interest of the game and the gamers. But just don't take too long, because this looks good.
I've had kids that have been born and now hit past double digits, almost in the same time span as The Last Guardian. So I hear you. It's just, I think Rockstar does everything calculated. I think they have everything that's well thought out, and barring any unforeseen circumstances, I see fall 2017 as a time that all eyes will be on Red Dead Redemption 2. And I just, I'm glad Mass Effect is coming earlier in the year. I'm know that there's going to be some other titles that are going to come down the pike on 2017, but as you and I both know, as it gets closer, all eyes will just be on Red Dead Redemption 2, because it will probably be the marquee game of the fall season already. You can just count it. Call of Duty, all the others. Sorry, but this is definitely going to be something that people are going to look forward to. Indeed. Well, when we come back, Josh and I are going to be talking some movies, and there's a couple movies that got hinted at with a couple little trailers that we are very interested in talking about, coming up right after the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. Thank you again for listening to us. Truly appreciate it. You've heard so much about how you can actually listen to Pop Culture Cosmos, all the different ways you can hear it. We truly appreciate all the support that we get from the community out there, for you listening to us, you sharing, on Twitter at Pop Culture Cosmo, at Game Source, also as well, at Mario Party Wars, our good friends there. One of our big sponsors, obviously, where we do a lot of shows from, Retro City Games. My hat's off to Douglas and Nicole every time. So appreciate all their help. Rob McCallum Films, for all the great movies that he's got either in the pike coming down, or that are available now to be, that you can watch. You check out robmccallumfilms.com. He's got a lot of great projects going on. You check that out. He's done a great job, including thanks again to congratulations to him again on getting more awards for his Missing Mom documentary, and so looking forward to seeing that again, because if you've seen my review on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, you'll know it's something that you shouldn't miss, and you should go out of your way definitely to see. So look forward to that. robmccallumfilms.com. Check out all of his projects there. Wine, Women, and Words. It's one of the other podcasts on our Pop Culture Cosmos experience on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. Wine, Women, and Words, Diana and Michelle do a great job, talking about the literary world. I'm hoping they'll get you on there, young man, because you've got some books you need to tell them about that they need to read, right?
Oh yeah, they do.
Indeed. I know you were talking at length about the Harry Potter books recently, and I know that they've talked back and forth about that. But with the books that you've written, I know definitely that they need to have you on the show there, as far as it's concerned. So if you are a fan of the literary world, you want to check out Wine, Women, and Words. It's a great show. Follow that on YouTube, or check it out right on our homepage at popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. So now we are talking movies, and you and I got a first glimpse this week of a couple of new movies that people are very, very excited about for different reasons per se. The first up is a little sneak peek of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It almost went under the radar because of all the announcements that came the next day in regards to the Switch, in regards to Red Dead Redemption 2, and Logan even. But a little sneak peek video, as far as it garnered a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm. Your thoughts on what you saw in that little brief sneak peek of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and what are your hopes for as far as maybe getting them more involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I think with the last movie they did a really good job of getting them involved with like tying them to Thor, but I've obviously they're going to have something to do with Infinity War because all these characters are tied so closely to Thanos. But because you even got like his daughters, you have Gamora and her sister. They're an intricate part of that Thanos storyline. So I can guarantee you they're going to pop up in Infinity War somewhere, and maybe even before that, though. Maybe they'll pop up in the next Thor movie. I think the potential for connecting with the rest of the Marvel universe is there's a lot to work with. So I don't think we have to worry about them not having much screen time as far as like having all these heroes on screen goes for the next Avengers film. What I saw in the trailer was it looks like, I don't say this about a lot of movies, but it looks like a lot of fun. Like they don't have, if you looked at all the stuff that they showed, I know it's just a teaser, but it doesn't look like there are any slow moments in the film. And that was what I liked about the first one. While they gave you a lot of backstory about these characters, there wasn't any like really slow moments. Like they did that a lot with like some of the older Marvel films, like the Hulk especially. It's just a lot
both
of really
Hulk films, I think,
both
suffered
Hulk
from that.
films. Yes, and it's just people want like, I know we've talked about this before, like with Ant-Man, we're saying people have a higher standard when it comes to superhero movies. But I mean, with a film like Guardian of the Galaxy, it's just, you need to have that fast-paced action in it.
Well, I don't know if you've got a chance to read out the extended article on the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I wrote on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, but that was one of the things I noted, and why Guardians of the Galaxy is so high on my list on from best to worst, was because there was really, first of all, the casual fan did not have any clue on the Guardians of the Galaxy. It is a smaller, like you've said before, it's even a smaller section of the Marvel Comics regime, and people were, who are these guys? What's this all about? But then they watch it, and it was a lot of fun, very enjoyable movie. Just really explained it, the characters very well, put everything in great detail, but still managed to do a nice flow. And the only slow point was just a romantic scene where it was trying to create a bond between the two main characters, which served them, and also the movie as well. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on as far as the way Guardians of the Galaxy was made. I mean, that movie could have really just put a roadblock into the Marvel Cinematic Universe if it wasn't done correctly. But it was James Gunn. Kudos to him on just creating a outstanding movie, and something that obviously has garnered a sequel because the audience and the critical reception both have warranted such a sequel. So now we're even excited even more. And I was kind of, amused by Dave Bautista, playing Drax again, and his continual line of misinterpreting words of the English language, and how it creates such an amusing line for how he interacts with Chris Pratt's character. I thought, again, his you know I'm since I'm a professional wrestling fan. I know his background extensively, as far as I know what he could do and could not do, at least I thought. But then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, and I thought this was something that was totally new for him, as far as from a comedic realm. And I just thought it was so well done for him. And as a whole, how James Gunn was able to bring that not only out of him, but out of each of the other characters, and put them in a great position. So I'm looking very much forward to volume 2. I really think they'll be able to add on to it. Now the expectations will be higher. So that's something that, Josh, you may want to take also into, thought process as well, because there's, before, nobody, casual fans didn't know about the Guardians of the Galaxy, and now you've got volume 2 coming out, and now everybody is expecting something even more. Correct?
Right, and that was the great thing about the first one, is that like nobody really knew what it was, but you could still go and watch it and be entertained by it. Like it was tied to the rest of the Marvel universe, but it could also be a standalone film. Like if they didn't want to tie it into everything else, they wouldn't have had to. It still would have been an enjoyable film. But now that the first one was so good and the bar's been set, people are going to be expecting more from it. They're going to be expecting more laughs, more explosions, more jokes about the Rocket Raccoon. And I think James Gunn is the perfect man to deliver it. Like I don't think that any other director out there could have made a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Do you think it's going to set up the universe even more? Do you think it's going to be something that maybe will, I don't know, maybe of all the movies coming up, maybe outside of Black Panther, because I think Black Panther was the one before Infinity Wars, if I'm not mistaken. It may be the one of all of them, maybe Ragnarok too, but I don't know. I'm just guessing here, that might set up the Infinity Wars the most. Am I not mistaken? Would I be, out of my league saying something like that?
No, because these movies, like Thanos is such a huge part of this franchise because the characters are tied to him. Like I mentioned earlier, his daughters are in there, and Peter Quill, the Infinity Stones. It's all leading somewhere. It's all part of this greater story, and even inside the Guardians of the Galaxy is such like a vast world that, as far as like the space heroes go, because they eventually go on to connect with Nova, Silver Surfer. They have run-ins with Galactus. Like there's a lot to explore there. So I mean, really, Guardians of the Galaxy could be a launching point for like an entirely separate Marvel Cinematic Universe if they wanted it to be.
I agree with you on that. Maybe it will evolve after the Infinity Wars into something of that nature, because obviously this is something that I don't know if it was expected for Marvel for them to achieve that kind of success with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think maybe they had originally thought that the movie would do right around what, let's say, Ant-Man and the original Thor and Captain America's movies did. As you know, they were between the $300 and the $500 million range worldwide. So maybe that's what they were expecting. But now Guardians of the Galaxy, like you said, not only stands on its own, but also stands with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and is something that they can now use as a benchmark for being a tentpole major release, similar to what Captain America Civil War did, as far as up in the ante on and being something outside the Avengers that can garner $1 billion for them. Look where it's headed. Look where it's going to be released. It's going to be released in, I believe it's going to be released in May. It's going to be that first magical week in May that Marvel seems to get and seems to garner every year. That's usually a big money making weekend. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that indeed. As far as a movie is concerned, and definitely eager to see how it will set up the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Any last thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Any word that you're hearing from anybody regarding their thoughts on it?
No, I mean, all I'm hearing from people about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is about Groot. So that seems he seems to be the favorite character. Not a
And
lot
that's a
of
shame.
shit there,
I like
but
Groot too, but that's a shame because there's so many great. All of them are great characters that can be explored. Are they not?
oh yeah, definitely. They all have super rich backstories. Rocket Raccoon especially. So I mean, I'm hoping they dive a little bit more into his story. But yeah, Groot's funny, and Dave Bautista, like that was the perfect role for him. But yeah, I'm excited. Like I like all the characters equally, and I'm super excited to see this movie. And I just hope they show another trailer soon, so I can kind of see what we're getting into.
Definitely. Well, that it was just a teaser that they showed us, so they promised the word soon, and I'm assuming that it will come right around the time of a certain movie to come out in November called Doctor Strange, which has already been shown to some critics, and obviously there's some good word on it already. Both you and I will be seeing it in the near future, so we're definitely looking forward to that. Any last thoughts on Doctor Strange? I know we're going to have a deep discussion on Marvel, hopefully with Diana in the near future. Before, keeping my fingers crossed, before Doctor Strange comes out, we can get into that deep, detailed discussion. But when you're seeing it intertwined with the Doctor Strange universe, how do you think that will be, and how do you think that will be constructed?
Doctor Strange is a necessary step. Like if for where they're obviously heading, you have to have a Doctor Strange movie because he, even in the comic books, he ties so many of these like separate worlds that Marvel has. He's the anchor point for all of them. So you kind of need, because they want to open up with like the magic and the magic realm and the all the like the Infinity Stones themselves are magic. So it's like you have Doctor Strange is a risk for them, but it's a necessary risk. It's just like Ant-Man. Like, granted they didn't actually need Ant-Man and he's just funny, but there's going to be a lot riding on the shoulders of this movie, and my fear is that people are going to watch it and not really know his backstory. Like he's probably not really the most well-known comic book character out there, but he's interesting. There's a lot of stuff to go over there. He's definitely he's a heavy hitter in the Marvel universe, but he's kind of a not so well known because there's not a lot of like cartoons that he's featured in, or they mentioned him in Winter Soldier, but people don't really like. If you're not a comic book fan, you're not going to go out of your way to read Doctor Strange, especially if he doesn't really have any ties like Iron Man or Captain America or any of the Avengers. So I'm excited. I want to see it because I love Doctor Strange, but I'm more curious about how it's going to be received.
But that in therein lies the same type of paradox that if you and I had discussed this 3 years ago, we would have said the same thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, would we have not? Because in fact, that's what we were just discussing. Is not as well known, maybe a little bit off to the side as far as where he stands in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not the casual audience, not very familiar with it. How's this going to play out? I think that they're going to do a pretty good job of trying to tell his story. I look forward to it. Some people may not get it as far as from the whole mind-bending, Inception type standpoint as far as how that will fit at first. But I think Marvel will eventually tell and be able to weave in a good story that will allow Doctor Strange to be a better part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right, and a really smart thing they did was cast Benedict Cumberbatch because he is an enamoring actor. Like he's fantastic. You give him any role and he's just going to own it, and people love him. So if it was anybody else in the role, like it would have been a risk. But like with him, I think even if people don't really understand Doctor Strange, they'll like him in playing the part. So they did a lot of things to kind of cover their tracks with this movie, but it's still just you know, it's going to be a toss of the coin whether your non-comic book reading fans are going to enjoy it.
Definitely, indeed. So I'm definitely looking forward to Doctor Strange when it comes out here in a couple weeks. I'm also, as I said, very interested to see the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and see how that plays out. But there's another Marvel character which also got a full teaser, and my goodness, for the international crowd, got a real full teaser, if you know what I mean. And that's the final Wolverine movie that will feature Hugh Jackman in the role, and that's going to be called Logan when it comes out. I believe it's also March next year, if I'm not mistaken. The R-rated film, which will be going the way of Deadpool. Now that Deadpool has paved the way for R-rated superhero films that can make a lot of money. Logan the trailer came out for Logan earlier this week, with Dr. Xavier involved as a much older Patrick Stewart, which, he is much older, but showed him as far as being there as far as a confidant to Logan once again, but also portrayed a much older Logan himself and a much older Wolverine. So I ask you, how did this trailer hit you? What were your thoughts? And really go into depth as far as your feelings for how it will be portrayed out with Wolverine, and then also the new character that was introduced within the movie itself.
The trailer, I didn't have any idea that it was being released. I didn't know it was out. I just stumbled across it while listening to music on YouTube, and it made me feel a lot of things. Like, it made me feel like sad, and then thrilled, and then sad again, and then excited. And it's I didn't know what to think of it, because it's, you see it and it's like it takes place in this apocalyptic universe, but Wolverine's powers are waning with age. And it really, I have a feeling it's going to answer a lot of questions. Like, we wonder, Wolverine, he's really old, and he heals himself, but what happens? Like, does he live forever, or does he just keep will he eventually die? Will his powers eventually shut down? So
does it take it from the last Wolverine movie?
It takes off from the end of Days of Future Past. So it's going to be the last movie on the original X-Men timeline. So it'll there's a lot that's unanswered right now. I don't know how close to the Old Man Logan comic books. I don't know if you ever read those. I don't know how close it'll be. They're interesting. If you guys ever get a chance to pick it up, it's definitely worth reading. But they didn't really answer a lot of questions. So what it is like all the mutants are gone, but nobody really, like, they didn't in the trailers. They don't really answer like where they went. And the young girl is, if my assumptions are correct, she is X-23. So she is the female Wolverine. So she's another Weapon X production. I think that's who the people who are chasing after her are responsible for creating her. It looks really good. It looks really dark. It looks like the Wolverine movie that we have always wanted.
I agree with you, Ed. It brought an interesting and having the Johnny Cash song, that song is just really to bring that type of atmosphere. That's always a good one to pull out. Also like the Nine Inch Nails version of it too, but I digress. But that trailer was really something, especially the international trailer, which is NSFW. If you get a chance to watch it, make sure the kids aren't around, because that one's a little bit even more bloodier. But seeing how that is portrayed out, seeing a Logan at his bitter end, seeing him battered and beaten, and seeing all the scars, and seeing how he could barely put on a shirt at one time during the trailer is just, you see the attrition, you see the toll that's taken on his body and on him personally, and him just wanting to be left alone. And unfortunately, that world came back to haunt him again, as it always does. Whenever he wants to be left alone, it always comes back on him. But I'm very intrigued about Logan. I really think, like you said, it takes it to a place which I know a lot of diehard Wolverine fans have wanted to see it for a long time. And the Wolverine movies have not garnered themselves much critical acclaim, even though, from a commercial X standpoint, they've done fairly well. So obviously the reason why Logan is coming out, I I, I have some high hopes for it. I really think it's going to be a strong entry in the series. But you and I both know the way Fox has portrayed the X-Men series as a whole in the timeline, as far as everything just all, to me, has very similar parallels to the Final Fantasy series, as far as stuff happening all over the place, timelines going all over. Nothing is really cohesive. And I'm gonna trust you that it's coming from Days of Future Past, because that is obviously their last successful, commercially and also critically successful movie, because Apocalypse really wasn't that. Okay, it was it did well enough to say it earned its money back, but it did not do well enough on a critical standpoint to for the fans to see it, the timeline going forward in a proper fashion, because there's some really there were some gaps and holes in the actual story that left a lot of people puzzled. But with Days of Future Past, a lot of people said they nailed the X-Men series, right to a T there. So if it goes and bases itself from that end, I can see definitely Logan being something that's very special. Your thoughts on that, as far as the way they've 20th Century Fox has treated the X-Men universe, as far as so many stops, starts, changes, ignore this, do this instead. What are your thoughts as far as how they treated it as a whole, and how like they're going to be able to blend it finally within a more cohesive storyline with Logan?
Well, I think it's smart to finally bring the old timeline to a close with Logan, but at the same time, like Wolverine is really like the character people love to see in the X-Men. So that's kind of. And let me ask you this: do you really think that this is going to be Hugh Jackman's last outing as Wolverine? I have a feeling that they would be, if the money was on the table. We have a James Bond situation here. So like Daniel Craig just came out and said, okay, well, maybe I will play James Bond again.
If the 125 million for 2 films is correct. So I agree with you on that. But I was going to actually ask you, I've been waiting for a day to ask you this. Okay. You don't know this, but I've been waiting for a day to ask you this, because that touches on a subject one I wanted to talk to you about. Maybe not his own film, but what if 20th Century Fox and Disney got together? I know they've really just, as far as handling all the Marvel properties, what if they actually talked and made kind of like a deal like they did with Sony, and introduced the Wolverine right in and around the Infinity Wars? Do you see that possibly being something that might somewhere be a possibility within that universe?
I wouldn't put it past them. To be completely honest, after the first Avengers came out, I think for a solid 3 months, I probably Googled Hugh Jackman in Avengers 2. And they talk about it like it's a possibility, but there's a lot of animosity between Marvel and 20th Century Fox, just because, Marvel got greedy and wanted to sell off their properties way back when. But, 20th Century Fox has kind of done what Sony has done to Spider-Man. They've been really just irresponsible with the property. And what gets me too is that Bryan Singer, when they first wanted to make an X-Men movie, Bryan Singer had never read an X-Men comic in his life. But it's gotten progressively better. But like I would absolutely love to see Wolverine in the Avengers. I would love to see him standing beside Tony Stark and Captain America. Like, that would be, in the comic books, he crosses over with them a whole lot. Like, his story is almost directly tied to Captain America's. So
he's been a part of the Avengers, has he not?
He's been in the Avengers, the Ultimates. Like, the Weapon X program is almost tied directly to the Super Soldier program that created Captain America. So it would definitely, like, if he wanted to go into it, like, they could make it just flow so smoothly into each other. That would be, that would be every fanboy's like dream to see that come true.
I mean, that's why I brought it up, because I just think if he were, it's a challenge for him. Like I said, they're going to have to throw a backload the Brinks truck for him, such as being rumored for Daniel Craig, or he's going to, if he's going to do it, he's going to see another challenge. And I think it would have to be in Infinity Wars. I don't think he wants to be part of another X-Men movie. I don't think he wants to even do another Wolverine movie unless they just really pay him some obscene figure, or they could actually, convince him that there's a benefit to being part of the Infinity War universe. I think that's something that would probably intrigue him just as much as it would intrigue fans. With your thoughts on that?
No, I definitely think you're right. I don't think that he so much wants to give up playing Wolverine because he's too old to play. He could probably play, he's obviously found whatever fountain of youth Russell Crowe is drinking out of, and he could play Wolverine for a long time. But I think it's the same, like Fox. If you've noticed, Fox has a really unhealthy obsession with Magneto, and so I think that's why both Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender are so tired of playing Magneto that they don't want anything to do with it anymore. I think that's what's happening to Hugh Jackman, because if he said, "Hey, yeah, I want to do another 10 X-Men movies," I guarantee you he would be in every single one of the next 10 X-Men movies, but his character would not progress at all. He would just be like a stand-in, and that's always been Fox's problem with the X-Men, is that they don't like give these characters things to do. Like in X-Men Apocalypse, they had so many cool heroes sitting there, but there are moments where they were literally just like, there's fights happening, and then you're sitting there, they go back to a scene of them just standing there. So you're wondering, like, what are they doing while these people are fighting each other?
Well, I also think that if it wasn't the Infinity Wars, and if it wasn't, they back up the Brinks truck and bring him a whole lot of cash to be in more X-Men movies, I think maybe the ongoing little small, I guess, quote unquote, feud he has with Deadpool could see its way clear to being as part of Deadpool 2, because he did make a kind of like appearance in the Deadpool movie, so it would be kind of cool to see if that actually partakes itself. If he does have a good relationship with Ryan Reynolds, maybe they would do something for a short cameo for laughs there. But I think it's going to take a lot to bring him back to the Wolverine series in its current form, because it is a lot of work for him to get in that shape. I get, from what I've seen and read on interviews, it does take a lot for him to do, especially now at an age similar to mine. But it's something that he might do for a challenge, such as the Infinity Wars. So definitely looking forward to Logan when it comes out, and the possibilities. He's going to tell you, like we were talking about with Rockstar, oh no. But if for the right project or for the right dollar amount, we could still see it happen nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just right now we were talking, I Googled Wolverine and Infinity Wars, and there's a lot of internet articles that are predicting it's a possibility. So that's awesome. I mean, Marvel has Disney bankrolling everything, so it's not a matter of money. So it's really just a matter of mending that bridge that Marvel has with Fox that has been destroyed over the years. I think with the right amount of, even if it weren't for the right amount of money, like Hugh Jackman has always expressed interest in crossing over into that universe. So I don't see any reason why he would turn that down.
And like I said, Apocalypse didn't, do huge business, but didn't do bad. But if they've already seen the law of diminishing returns from the previous X-Men film, Days of Future Past, earned considerably more than Apocalypse. So it worked for Sony, which saw diminishing returns with the Amazing Spider-Man series. So if they see that, as far as Spider-Man being an integral part of the Infinity War series, and obviously shooting off into movies of his own. And, there's now lots with Spider-Man Homecoming. There's now a lot of hype because of his appearance in Civil War. That same type of scenario could happen for the X-Men if they see their way clear and allow Marvel to go ahead and utilize a lot more of their characters.
Right. And, Fox has already done a pretty good job of destroying the X-Men franchise. So it could be beneficial to both parties, because Marvel could essentially launch a whole nother X-Men universe that they could team up with Fox with. So, I wouldn't say it's not a possibility. I know that they're going to be busy with adding, the Defenders in there. Like the Infinity Wars it's a busy comic book. There's a lot of heroes in it, but so is Civil War. So really, you can't really make any predictions, but it'd definitely be exciting to see.
Definitely, indeed. It will be something that definitely looking forward to when starting with when Logan comes out. Obviously he does the interview tour and whatnot, and Hugh Jackman may even allude to that on more than one occasion when Logan gets ready to be released in early 2017. If you haven't checked out the trailer, it's really good. I highly recommend it, either the regular North American trailer or the NSFW trailer, international trailer, if you can find it somewhere, internet, YouTube, what have you. But it is something you definitely want to check out. So I think that's going to do it for us this time on the show today. Again, we are available Monday nights on the Podcast Radio Network, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Also want to give us a check out on the Tangent Bound Network, Google Play. Of course, subscribe to us on iTunes. If you really, really like iTunes, we come up, boom, right there for you. Podcast.com. That's also a place where you can check us out. Our home site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, and Stitcher. We're also available. We've got an RSS feed that, boom, the latest podcast of Pop Culture Cosmos goes right there. So for me, Gerald Glassford, and my good friend, Mr. Josh Peterson, any last thoughts, sir?
No, definitely. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I hope that we can deliver some more successful podcasts to you. And don't forget to check out Congratulations, You Suck when it hits stores either December or January. It'll be out eventually, I promise.
And as it gets towards there, we'll give you more information on exact date and exactly where and how to order it, because it is definitely a book you won't want to miss. So for Josh Peterson, again, you can get his book now, Vendetta Dark, which is available on Amazon. You can check that out. And the upcoming Congratulations, You Suck. This is Gerald Glassford. Once again, we thank you for watching. We thank you for listening. It's another beautiful evening in paradise. And here's hoping you have yourselves a great day.